This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
How are you doing, Jason Glick?
Oh, much better this week, John. How about you?
Great. Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. What do you have in store for us tonight?
Well, after many years, I have the final volume of Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. It's like this. I mean, you've seen me. If you've been reading the blog, you see me talk about just about every volume that he's written. And also, if you remember, like the years ago when I talked about I talked about his chapter series in on Blackest Night and the War of the Green Lanterns on the podcast as well. I mean, if there's a writer who has created a definitive run like on the character, specifically Hal Jordan, it is him. And I've said it before on the blog that you really cannot overstate John's contributions to this franchise. I mean, before he took over, it was Kyle Rayner, who I really liked, was the Green Lantern after DC realized that nobody gave a shit about Hal Jordan. They had him turned into a villain named Parallax, and then Kyle Rayner became like the last Green Lantern who's going to keep the torch burning for the Green Lanterns and the Green Lantern Corps throughout the universe. So, but then there was also this vocal contingent of fans who said, "No, we want Hal Jordan back. We're going to stop at nothing." So, eventually Hal Jordan, gave his life to restart the sun in the Final Night crossover. Then he became the Spectre for years. So it's kind of like a compromise. Like, here's Hal Jordan. So hey, we got that Rayner. He's the Green Lantern. They'll deal with it. But there's always this there's always this vocal contingent of fans, and there's some creators out there who think, yeah, we really like Hal Jordan. Like, you think we'd do something with them? One of them was Geoff Johns, and apparently years ago, DC finally gave him the shot to put Hal Jordan back as the one Green Lantern in Green Lantern Rebirth. Now, while it's a very continuity-heavy series, Rebirth is a masterclass in taking all that continuity and showing you how, hey, maybe there was actually a purpose behind it all. God knows there wasn't any purpose, but Johns looked at all the stuff that had been done to Hal Jordan up to that point, and then created a coherent story that utilized all of it and set up a new status quo for the character. It brought him back, and also opened the door to the whole emotional spectrum of lanterns that we got. I mean, I didn't start reading this series until the Sinestro Corps War came out in paperback, and I heard lots of good things about this particular storyline, and it was to be honest, this is a story that lived up to its hype. It had epic stakes. It's great action, and even though the main story was in the Green Lantern title, its sister title, the Green Lantern Corps, also had lots of entertaining stuff, to the point where I didn't mind so much when we got to the off chapters where you had Peter Tomasi or Dave Gibbons scripting the Green Lantern Corps. That was good, but the Geoff Johns issues for the Sinestro Corps were good enough to get me on board and go, okay, I'm going to start picking up his run and seeing where we go from here. Overall, Green Lantern, John's run on Green Lantern basically shows you the value of what a committed, dedicated a vision for the character and franchise can do for you. Instead of just sometimes he has some editorial or marketing having to conform to what they're saying the character has to be right now. Well, you've got the leeway to do what you want, and just take things in interesting directions, things that have unexpected benefits, to the point where after the Sinestro Corps War, we find out that the Green Lantern, that it wasn't just a single Green Lantern corps where it's just the green guys with the rings. We also had the Sinestro Corps who had their rings that controlled fear. We also found out the whole emotional spectrum based on the colors of the rainbow. You had the violets, see the Violet Lanterns who controlled love, the Indigo Lanterns who controlled compassion, the Blue Lanterns who controlled hope, the single Green Lantern, Larfleeze, who controlled avarice, the Red Lanterns who controlled rage. You had at the other ends of the spectrum, you had like the White Lantern. You had the here's unforeseen White Lanterns who controlled life, and the Black Lanterns who controlled death. That was the Black Lanterns thing was that something they were going to this is part of the key lead up to the Blackest Night crossover. Now, I was like, I want to say that Johns basically did a great job of convincing me throughout his run that he had like a singular vision and purpose for the series that showed that, and it kind of like and it was ultimately realized in Blackest Night, in a crossover that was essentially a Green Lantern story, but DC realized, we can actually spill this out to the entire universe. This is like a big, company-wide crossover. And it worked. It was one of the few DC crossovers that actually, beat, Marvel's big event series at the time, which was Captain America Reborn, and turned out to be a pretty entertaining read as well. Granted, and it even worked, even if you didn't read the Green Lantern tie-in volume, which contained all the missing beats between the crossover itself. But after that, you get the Brightest Day series, which is basically like John setting up, establishing the entities, the emotional entities which embody all of the other emotions and lanterns of the spectrum. That was kind of more, that was entertaining enough. It was more set up for the next arc, which was the War of the Lanterns, where we find out that Krona, one of the oldest Guardians of the Universe, who run the Green Lantern Corps, he was kicked out years ago. He's been gathering the entities for his own purpose, and he's gonna take things out and start running the show himself. The crossover ended with Jordan basically summoning his will to a fine point where he managed to kill Krona, which is something that Green Lanterns are not supposed to be able to do, to the Guardians at least. Then and because of that, he was rejected. He was kicked out of the Green Lantern Corps, and at the same time, though, his foe, and his friend, foe, best frenemy, Sinestro, was actually reinstated into the Green Lantern Corps because while he was without his fear ring at the time, he showed that he could overcome great fear through his actions in the crossover. That led us to the New 52 non-reboot, because this Green Lantern, along with Batman, was one of the few series that didn't undergo a hard reboot at the time. DC said, hey, this is working really well as it is. We're going to keep things going. And so then you had Sinestro working for the Green Lantern Corps, and Hal Jordan just bumming around on Earth. Okay. Then, and the first issue ended with Sinestro coming to Jordan saying, hey, I can make you a Green Lantern again, but you're going to have to be my bitch. For that. Well, he didn't say it exactly like that, but, that was the gist of things. And so then, you got, Johns, basically, pulling on a thread that he's kind of been setting up through most of the series. Basically, the Guardians have been kind of like real dicks, and they realize that, hey, the Green Lanterns, they're they're protecting the universe and all. But they also got all this emotion that interferes with with their jobs. So we're going to go ahead and create this new third army. It's going to be completely responding to our will, and they're gonna obey whatever we say, make the universe into one sentient, controllable being. So basically, you get cyberspace zombies going around, sapping free will from everyone, and that's that was the crux of the third army crossover that spread through all the other Green Lantern titles. But here's the thing. Now we're getting to the well, I liked the first two volumes of John's New 52 incarnation of the series. It's like here we are getting into his final volume 3, which is called The End. And overall, I did like it. Then again, keep in mind that you're talking to someone who has spent like the last, I don't know, 5-10 minutes talking about how much he liked the series. So at the same time, though, it's like, I'll admit, yeah, I kind of drank the Kool-Aid, but Johns has proved his worth to me. And yes, this. There are lots of issues here, but I think this is still a worthy wrap up to the series. Let me say that right there, because then you get to the issues. The biggest of which is the whole crossover structure that DC like forces upon all four series at this point. Now, at first I thought this was a good thing in the sense that hey, we'd be getting the next volume of Green Lantern sooner with these two crossovers, Rise of the Third Army and Wrath of the First Lantern. Then DC announced that issue 20, hey, everyone's leaving. Now, John's wrapping up his run, and all the other guys on the other titles are leaving as well. So we're gonna make a whole house cleaning right here. So I'm thinking, wait, so this means that, and then they announced. Oh, let me back up. Then they announced that the final volume of John's run is the only one. All the third volumes of all the Green Lantern titles are going to be the ones that are going to be the only ones that will contain the final issues of their series. So at the same time, they're saying, yeah, there's this crossover going on that you can buy in 2 separate volumes, but if you want the final wrap of these storylines, you're going to have to buy the third volume of each of these titles. On one hand, it's a brilliant marketing ploy by DC upper management. At the same time, though, it's one that I'm going to say, go fuck yourselves, DC. So when DC basically said that, hey, like Green Lantern Volume 3 is going to take the final issue of Geoff Johns run, hey, that's all I'm going to buy, because that's all I really give a shit about. Anyway, so what does Geoff Johns' final volume have? Well, to start with, it has the introduction of a new Green Lantern, the 5th, Earth as well. That's Seven Baz. He's an Arab American who as we are officially introduced to at the beginning of the story, had his life change on 9/11, and basically, and was essentially like the recipient of indiscriminate rage against Arab Americans at the time, and he's also, and we also see that he's not like the most morally upstanding character. We're introduced when we get to the story proper. He's basically stolen a car, because that's what he does. That's what he does in order to supplement his income after being laid off from his auto plant. But he has the unfortunate luck to find out that the car he's stolen also has a bomb in it. So even though he managed to take it into deposit in his abandoned auto factory where he used to work, he's brought in by the American FBI and charged on terrorism. But in resisting the efforts to interrogate him at the time, he's proved to be a man who overcome great fear, and so the ring that Hal Jordan and Sinestro lost at the end of Volume 2 selects him to be the next Green Lantern. Now, like Baz is he's a likable character. I mean, he's kind of, it's a key. What am I trying to say here? It's like, I appreciate the fact that that Johns is trying to broaden the racial spectrum. Of the Lanterns, and also just give spotlight an ethnicity that doesn't get a lot of play in comics these days. And once again, it does make for a pretty compelling read, as he's trying to struggle against what people believe about him versus what he actually is, because he wants to do the right thing, but he doesn't always get the right opportunity to do so. I mean, there is a fun moment at the beginning where the Justice League finds out, there's a new Green Lantern on the block, and we had to show up to find out, and he may be a terrorist, so we got to find out what that's all about. And as soon as they show up, and the boss says, hey, you don't actually expect me to fight you. I mean, I don't think I can take any of you on. You're the Justice League. Maybe I can take Batman. At which point Batman goes, yeah, he's definitely a Green Lantern. So it's a fun little moment, but at the same time, it then subsequently shortly devolves into the whole misunderstanding when it's like when the fact that this is Sinestro's ring makes itself known, and Boz has to make a fast escape. It's fun seeing him try to clear his name and hook up with the Chipmunk Green Lantern badge, and that's a nice moment because that lets you know that we're not meant to take his role like entirely seriously. I mean, even though you could take the idea that hey, every American Green Lantern, we're supposed to take this as like a very we're like very serious, and that he's like that he worked that he's an ethnicity that we're supposed to take respect and take completely seriously. But like pairing him with a chipmunk, it's actually kind of a fun move because it's fun seeing him just saying, hey, I'm working with a chipmunk now, okay, and I'm like and how bad like chides him for saying, hey, you understand chipmunk? God damn, was your brain not evolved enough? And we also get to see him establish his Green Lantern bona fides, doing something that no other Green Lantern has done after he brings his brother-in-law out of a coma. So overall, it's like and so Boz is a nice addition to the core so far. But that's basically John's contribution to the whole Rise of the Third Army arc. I mean, yes, there's like these scenes of like the Third Army, like assimilating people like the Borg and all. Like basically like cyber zombie, like space zombies and all, which is kind of unoriginal and just generally like meh. But at the same time, though, it seems that the whole conclusion to the whole crossover was from another title, and so when you get past those issues, then you find Boz in a prison in the Chamber of Shadows with Black Hand and the Templar Guardians. So if you didn't know what was going on, that there's this whole part of a whole crossover, then you'd be thoroughly confused. So let me just say that this is part of a crossover. Just deal with it as it is. That's all I can say. Because some sort of text page would have been great to sort out this confusion. Anyway, the Wrath of the Third Lantern arc basically sets up the main villain for this arc, who is Volthoom, the first Lantern, and he's got those reality warping powers that are so convenient to characters in the sense that he can rewrite reality, but he can't quite do it just yet because he doesn't have enough power. But he's got enough to just make the lives of the characters a living hell, and that's enough to a certain point. I mean, he does do some really nasty shit to Sinestro, which does take some doing. And I do like the one Sinestro has on Korrigar, where he admits that yes, I do need help, and I kind of do love this one girl and all. So those were good, but you also get some nice moments in the Dead Zone, which I talked about this briefly on the blog before. But they got some nice art from Simon Kudransky, who has this he's working with a monochromatic color scheme, and he's got this great jock-like art that has this great sense of style, mood, and momentum as well. It's really compelling stuff, and let me just say that right now, Todd McFarlane is lucky to have him illustrating Spawn right now. Lucky, I say. So the main thrust of this arc is that Jordan and Sinestro have been stuck in the Dead Zone for the last several issues, and once Boz gets in there through his fight with Black Hand, he winds up being able to bring Sinestro out, but Jordan is still stuck in there. So Jordan's got to find a way out and save the universe from the Third Lantern. This works pretty well because the whole prophecy about Jordan being the greatest Black Lantern, which is in the annual in Volume 2, actually gets a really nice payoff here when you find out just what that means. And in the final two issues, like I said, gets some really spectacular action, but also a whole lot of hand waving stuff in the sense what Volthoom is capable of. Gets Sinestro taking on commanding Parallax, all the other Green Lanterns showing up and fighting Volthoom, but they can't beat him until Jordan shows up, it shows you why he's not only the greatest Black Lantern ever, but also the best Green Lantern one as well. And there's some like dramatic points when you like find out what Sinestro does when he gets a chance to go one-on-one with the Guardians, and also the some silliness when you get Hal, the final parting words between Hal and Sinestro, when Sinestro says, "We were always friends." Yeah, it's ridiculous, it's silly, but if you've bought into everything in the series so far, then it's like I really see no reason why not to just go whole hog into this. I mean, overall, I thought the wrap up was was pretty heartfelt and entertaining, and overall it's like I certainly do not regret all the time that I spent with John's run. It's like over the years. It's like, and he also basically provides his own his stamp on the series such as it is. I mean, if you wanted to stop reading after this volume, you certainly could, and that's certainly what I'm going to do, because seeing what he's done with the series, I mean, like he not only did he bring Jordan back from the dead in a good way, he managed to he left they say one title, like a solo series also ran into a 4-title franchise that's now being carried on in this way. This is the very definition of leaving a series in better condition than when he left. Hey, to be honest, if it hadn't been for John's run, we wouldn't have gotten that terrible Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds a couple of years ago. So overall, John's run, highly recommended. And if DC decides to start putting out his run in omnibus collections for you to collect everything, then yeah, I'd highly recommend it, because it's a really good example of what a singular creative vision can do to drive a series. But let's not forget that he's also had some very capable artistic collaborators as well. It's from Ethan Van Sciver, who's contributed several chapters from Rebirth to various one shots in the series itself, to Ivan Rice, who basically rose to superstar status with his work on the title, and then on Blackest Night, and also my personal favorite, Doug Monk, who guy's got a fearsome talent for drawing just about any nasty monster you can think of, and throwing him on a science fiction title that has the craziest monsters in the universe, brilliant move. And he shows you time and time again in this volume, and just about anything else he's done with this series, why he's one of the best in the business. The guy's a fantastic artist, and I'm really glad that DC decided to throw him on a title where he could really shine and show a wide audience what he was capable of. Great stuff overall, and highly recommended. Yeah, there's a great amount of deep silliness, but hey, if you're a superhero fan, then yeah, silliness is part of the game. Overall, it's John's Green Lantern, great stuff. I'd recommend it just about anyone who's interested in good superhero comics. So John, if you're still there, any thoughts?
Oh, I'm still here. Absolutely. I appreciate what he's done for the Green Lantern, according to what you said. There's just something that always kind of gets me, and I've noticed the trend. Why do we? I mean, and I'm not trying to be insensitive whatsoever, but so many times I see this used as a launching point or a plot. And I understand the times have changed, but 9/11, terrorists, and Arab Americans. I mean, I have nothing but respect for the events that happened around that, but is it necessary to use it everywhere? I mean, it's just it's a different sort of. It's not different. It's just that I begin to see it more in stories all
it's
over the
it's
place.
starting to become a trope in itself.
Very much so, very much so. I have nothing wrong with it, and I think well-executed ones can do well. It's just that if there's anything that I could say, that it's just like, wow, here's another terrorist story again. Here's this and this. I don't know if we're endeavoring to incorporate them, or it's just like it's good, easy, off-the-shelf material nowadays. So that's my only observation about it. I don't have anything wrong with any of those things. That's the thing. I have nothing wrong with all of that. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's like, hey, well, just pull it off the shelf. Here it is again, the 9/11, framing device, if you will.
Yeah, and I know what you mean right there. And with Boz, but I'm willing. I think that Johns does it a bit better than most because
Sure.
His all the yeah, of course I'd say that, but at the same time the the whole 9/11 stuff is kind of dealt with in two mostly silent pages.
Okay.
In the sense of we get the whole the moment when Simon's world changed for him and his family, the fallout, and then we find out today what he's up to, and he turns out he's stealing cars and shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I mean, like I said, I don't have any problems with well-written stories, and he may put together yet another well-written story. It's like, getting to be, it's kind of like, I watch Star Trek, right? It's unapologetically Star Trek, I mean, the bane of their existence at one time was time travel stories in the Borg, so, so I mean,
yeah.
and so I guess being a fan of that caliber, it's like, I tend to notice it when more trends start to, crop up often,
Yeah. So I'd say the bigger problem with the franchise, in terms of who gets to be a Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 5 Green Lanterns from Earth, and they're all guys, so it's just one major sausage fest.
Yeah.
When are we going to see a female Green Lantern from Earth?
Yep. May not be in the cards at the moment, but maybe someone will come along and throw that in there. After all, there are females in the Green Lantern Corps, are there not?
Yes, sir. Yes, there are. There are some females in the Green Lantern Corps. There are also all the Star Sapphires are female, but they've also got all the really revealing costumes and all. So it's kind of like we're dealing with. There are no male Star Sapphires, and I think Johns said that. Yeah, it's like you can't have any guys being Star Sapphires because they look terrible in the costume.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, that's not good, Jeff. That's not.
You can get away with it with a character like Wonder Woman, where it's an island of Amazonians or whatnot. But where the gender doesn't really matter, you know what I mean. So anyway, no. So yeah, absolutely an excellent extra observation. But yeah, that's it. Anything on what you're going to talk about next week? Not a damn thing. Have a general idea?
Well, let's say if my shipment of the last issues of Peter Milligan's Hellblazer arrive, then I'll certainly be willing to talk about that. Otherwise, it may be a surprise. But like I say, we're going to shoot for Milligan's Hellblazer. We'll see how that goes for right now.
All right, we'll check you out. We'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
Laters.
Bye.